Hi, friends. Welcome back to What They Don't Say. It's Shannon here. Today, I want to talk very specifically to people who have recently experienced sexual assault and to supporters of survivors of sexual assault. Somebody really close to me recently was sexually assaulted, and having conversations with them really made me realize that I've never sat down and had a conversation with any of you guys about the aftermath of sexual assault. And when I say the aftermath, what I'm really talking about is Lauren and I have had a lot of conversations about, our experiences and with professionals and sort of what all this means. But I really want to have a conversation with you all today about right after sexual assault. What is natural to experience? Sort of the things that might happen when somebody is coming to terms with what somebody did to them. I will be talking mainly in terms of if somebody has recently been sexually assaulted, but that does not mean that this won't apply to you if your sexual assault happened a long time ago, or maybe you recently are coming to terms with it. And I'm hoping that if you're listening to this as a supporter of a survivor, you will begin to sort of understand what this person is going through, and it will give you ideas on how to help them and support them. Without further ado, let's get into the episode. Hi, friend. I want to start by saying I am so sorry that somebody did this to you. Sexual assault is not something that anyone should ever have to experience or go through, and I know that you might be really, really hurting right now. Sexual assault is never okay, and it is something that I wish did not exist on this earth. I know right now that things might be really confusing for you. You might be still trying to figure out and walk yourself through what happened and trying to figure out, okay, was that sexual assault? Was that rape? Where did the consent go missing? Was there consent? I'm confused. And being confused about what happened and trying to rack your brain for a step-by-step rerun of it so you can understand that experience is a very natural and normal thing to go through. I know that for me, right after I was sexually assaulted, I called it rape immediately because I remember saying, I called my friend and I said, I think I was raped. That was the first thing I said because that was just the first thing that came to mind. But even in that sentence, I said, I think I was raped. And so my body was trying to tell me, you were sexually assaulted, you were raped, but I still hadn't fully come to terms with what happened. And even though I said what it was right after it happened, in the coming days, weeks, and months after my assault, I began to have these conversations with myself in my head. I would have these conversations that would go something like this. Well, what if I did something to make him think that I wanted to have sex? What if what I went through wasn't really that bad and I'm just kind of making something up? What if there was some miscommunication and I had given consent at some point? These are conversations that I've had with myself for years, quite literally for years. And they were especially prominent right after my sexual assault. And here are a few reasons why I think these conversations happen. And I need to preface this with, I'm not a scientist. I am simply telling you these things out of observations from things that I've noticed in my life and from talking to other survivors and just all of that, okay? Thing one, we typically aren't taught about sexual assault. So if it happens to us, we can't label it. We don't know what it is because we've never really been taught what it looks like or what it feels like or what happens when this takes place. And since we don't know what it is, therefore our brain can't really label what happened to us. Thing two, your brain might not want to admit what happened. What's really incredible about our brains are that they are designed to keep us safe. What that means is that our brain, if there's something that's unsafe, it will send danger signals coursing through the body, being like, hey, let's be on alert. And having a sexual assault experience is an incredibly traumatic experience for the brain and the body. And a lot happens on the chemical side of things in a moment of serious trauma. And so your brain might be protecting you by saying, we don't fully understand exactly what happened to us yet. We just know that it was bad, and so we're just going to put it in a box for now and kind of file it in the back of our mind and figure it out as we go, because what's most important right now is keeping this brain and body alive, and we can deal with what that means and what happened to us at a later date. Number 3, not everybody may feel this way, but for me, I want to believe that people in this world are good. I want to believe that people have good intentions and that people do not want to directly cause harm to others. And so when somebody sexually assaults somebody, that would mean that they have bad intentions and that they want to harm someone. And this means that people can be bad. And obviously I'm not like insane. Like I know that people can be bad people, but at my core, I want to believe that the majority of people are good, especially when it comes to scenarios where people are sexually assaulted by somebody that they know and trust. In my experience, my rapist was a close family friend. He was quite literally the only man that my mom would let me be alone in the house with. Like my mom didn't even want me to be alone with gay men in the house. And this man was like a 6'2", military guy, would pull out your chair, call your mother ma'am. Like he could recite Bible verses at the dinner table. That's the kind of man he was. That is not the type of man that I would have thought would be a sexual predator, if you asked me back then. And so when somebody you know and that you trust inflicts pain on you, and in this scenario, in a sexual assault context, your brain is like, no, that's not who they are. That person is my nice neighbor. That person is my best friend. That person is my uncle. That person is my friend's boyfriend or my friend's girlfriend. Like there's no way they could be capable of that. But the reality of this is, and we are never taught this, is that 8 out of 10 victims know their perpetrator. Let me cool it down a little bit. Sorry. I don't mean to be talking at you guys. I know we're in a very delicate state right now. But I'm saying this to just, define why it's so hard for our brains to comprehend this. And it's because if one day somebody is somebody that you trust and that you feel safe with, and all of a sudden, if the next day they are somebody that is capable of sexual violence, that in itself is a very hard pill to swallow and understand. I really need you to listen to me when I say this. There is nothing that you can do, nothing that you can wear, and nothing that you can say that gives somebody else the right to harm your body. Let me repeat that again. There is nothing you can do, there is nothing you can say, and there is nothing that you can wear to give somebody else the right to harm your body. It is very common to start thinking and to begin to blame yourself for your sexual assault. And this might be something that you might do for a long time. And you might need to repeat to yourself over and over and over again, this is not my fault. I don't have control over anybody else's actions. If somebody chooses to harm me, that is on them. There is nothing that you could do to make somebody sexually assault you. They choose to do that. You do not have control over them inflicting harm on you. Sexual assault is not your fault. It will never be your fault. And you do not have control over somebody else choosing to harm you. There is nothing that you can do. There is nothing that you can say. There is nothing in that realm that gives somebody else the permission to harm your body. What happened to you was that somebody chose to harm your body. They made that decision. You did not have any part in that decision. And I hate that right now you might be feeling like it is your fault. Like you did something to make this happen to you. And it is so important right now that you just tell yourself, and listen to me when I hear this. And if you tell yourself this and you don't believe it, then listen to me say it, and maybe you'll believe it then. There is nothing that you can do to give somebody else the right to harm your body. Now that we've kind of talked a little bit about the initial confusion related to sexual assault, I just want to go ahead and say that you might be feeling really odd right now. You might be dissociating. You, on top of this confusion that you're feeling, just might be feeling off. Like you might not feel like yourself and you don't fully know why. And maybe you're even trying to go through your day as if nothing happened, but things are just feeling odd and off right now. And once again, I just want to say that that is natural and that is normal. To me, sexual assault is a way to take away someone's autonomy. Sexual assault is a crime committed on someone's body. Sexual assault is an injury to someone's body. At least that's something that I believe. And it is natural and normal for your body to be quite out of whack right now. And with all of that, it is so, so, so important. And please listen when I say this. You need to be showing yourself grace right now. So much grace right now. And for all of you people out there, which I know we have a lot of listeners who are high achievers, who are like going to work the next day and, taking their kids to school and doing the group projects. And they're like, oh my gosh, why do I feel so off? Why do I not feel good? Like, I know that there was this thing that happened on the weekend and like I feel weird, but like surely it's nothing. And you're just continuing on with your day. I need you to know that like you need to give yourself grace and do everything in your power to rest during this time. Your body has had an experience that has made it feel incredibly unsafe. And so it is so, so important that right now you do everything you can to help yourself feel safe and grounded again. I mentioned this idea of an injury a couple minutes ago, and this idea comes from Jess Michaels. Jess Michaels is an Epstein survivor, and she has really enlightened me to this idea of thinking about sexual assault from an injury perspective. And when I say to think about it in the context of an injury, this is what I mean. If you broke your ankle today, what would you do? You would probably go to the hospital. You would get it looked at. You'd get an x-ray. You would get a diagnosis. Maybe you have to get surgery. You would get surgery. Then the weeks after surgery, you would get PT. You would have to take some time off of work. You would need to call friends. Friends would need to help you drive places. Friends might need to help you call to make appointments. Friends might need to help you go to the grocery store. Friends might need to help you plan out your meals for that week. Friends would be checking in on you. Hopefully, when we're just talking about good friends here. Friends would be coming to show up for you and say like, hey, is there anything I can do for you? Are you okay? What can I do to help you right now? These are the sorts of conversations that would be had, and these are the events that would take place. After an injury, it is normal to seek care. After an injury, it is normal for people to offer care to you. And Jess has enlightened me to this idea of, what if we looked at sexual assault like it's an injury? What if when somebody said, hey, I was sexually assaulted, we meet them with, are you okay? How can I support you during this time? I believe you. Let me help you clean up your space so that you feel good in this environment. Let me drive you to your therapist's office today. Let me make that phone call for you so you don't have to take that weight on. Then for the coming weeks and months and maybe even years, we would check in with them. We would say, hey, that ankle injury from a couple months ago, like, how is it doing? How are you recovering? In the context of sexual assault, you would say, hey, how are you doing since that experience you had a couple months ago? How are you? Are you feeling safe in your body? Do you feel like you're getting the help that you need right now? It would be a natural thing to check in over time and for it to be treated with care. And so for yourself right now, I think that thinking about your sexual assault as an injury can help give yourself a lot of grace and understanding of sexual assault is a perfectly valid thing to take time off of work for. Sexual assault is a perfectly valid thing to miss a couple classes for. And I think as people who are high achievers and who are, just want to power through and get things done, it can be really easy to think that, sexual assault, just like that experience, like it was just like, I didn't feel good. It didn't feel right, but like, it's not that bad. Like I can still go to school. I can still go to work. I can still do all of these things. And I just want to sort of wake you up to this idea of, if you thought about this as an injury, which it is in my opinion, you wouldn't be asked to do all of these things. You would give yourself more grace and patience to take a second to chill and heal and let your body relax and breathe and to find a sense of safety again. Now, this next thing might be hard to hear. And the truth here is that everything might suck right now. And I'm not saying that to be a Debbie Downer. I'm saying it to just let you know that it's okay to let everything suck right now. And with everything sucking so bad, you might be thinking, will this ever end? Like, will I ever feel normal again? Will I ever feel okay? Is this odd dissociation, halfway in the world, halfway out? Is this going to be a feeling that I have forever? listen when I say this, you will not feel this way forever. This is temporary, and one day you will have a new normal, and you will feel joy again, and you will feel loved again, and you will feel safe again. You just have to trust me when I say that. And my favorite analogy for this is thinking about how, like in the wintertime, if you're outside and it's really, really cold and your fingers are frozen and you can't feel your toes and you're shivering and you're just thinking, oh my gosh, like when will I be warm again? It feels like I'm never, ever, ever going to be warm again. It's so freaking cold. And then all of a sudden, before you even realize it, you're inside, you've taken a warm shower, you're wrapped in a blanket, maybe you have a cup of hot cocoa, and everything is okay again, and you're warm. And you don't really know how you got to be warm again. All you know is that you're so grateful that you are no longer freezing and that you feel so good now being warm. And that is the same thing here with healing from sexual assault. It feels like I might never be okay again. Like, what if I feel like this forever? And then one day you look back and you think, holy cow, I feel like I am filled with joy today. I feel safe in this relationship with this person. I feel good today. And I don't even necessarily know how I got here. I know it was a hard journey and a painful journey, but I'm here and it feels good. So if you're feeling like I'm never going to be okay again, will I feel off forever? The answer is no. You will not feel off forever and you will be okay again. It's just going to take a bit of effort, a bit of time, and for you to put your pieces together to find your new normal and to feel whole again. Along with this idea of showing ourselves grace and being patient with ourselves, you might need to ask for help. And once again, I am talking to you people who think I can do this myself. I don't need to burden somebody with my pain. They have their own thing going on. And guess what? I think that it is so admirable of you to sit there and think about everybody else when you are hurting. But right now, the people who care about you want to support you. They want to help pick you up when you're on the ground feeling broken. Let them help you. And in order to let them help you, you need to tell them that you are hurting. I know what you might be thinking. Shannon, I cannot even understand what I went through. How the hell am I supposed to ask for help if I still am confused about what happened and in shambles? And I just want to start by acknowledging that it's really unfair that you even have to ask for help in this scenario, and that that's really crappy, and that I wish you didn't have to. I want to sort of ease your mind with the idea of you don't have to tell everybody the whole story of what happened to you. You don't need to give every single detail. What I would encourage you to do is to find maybe 2 to 3 people to talk to. And this is the script. This is what you're going to say. You're going to say, hi, I'm telling you this because I love you and I feel like I'm going to need your help right now. A couple weeks ago, a couple days, a couple months, however long it's been, something happened. I don't have the energy or the bandwidth to give you the details about it, but all you need to know is that I'm really hurting right now and I really need your support. And then give them a couple different ways that they can support you. If you're not exactly sure how people can support you right now, let me just give you a few. Hey, could you drive me to my therapy appointment this week? Hey, could you help me figure out what I'm going to eat this week and help me plan out my meals and a grocery list? Could you help me plan something to look forward to at the end of this week? Those are all options of things that you can ask from people to help you during this time. And after you have laid out that you're hurting right now, you need support from them, say, I really am grateful for you being here for me during this time. I don't know how long I'm going to be healing from this, but just know that I'm so grateful that I can lean on you during this time. And they might have questions. They might be like, what happened? I need to know details. And to that, you can respond with, I'm not ready to give details right now. Frankly, I'm still trying to process what happened, and it's hard for me to even talk about it. So I'll let you know when I feel ready to do that, but right now I can't. And I just appreciate your support regardless of the details of the situation. And hopefully they will respect that. I can't promise that every person will have the perfect reaction. I can promise you that some people will say some dumb shit and that will really make you mad right now. But just remember that it is really important that you get the help that you need right now to be able to heal in the long term. We're playing the long game. Healing from sexual assault is not a sprint. It is an entire fucking marathon, and you need to lean on people to do it. And so give yourself the right team of people to be able to heal through this marathon of pain, okay? Okay. I believe in you. You can do this. Something that I don't think people talk about is how often you might want to talk through your sexual assault after it happened. I do think that there are kind of two different routes that people go after experiencing sexual violence. I think on one side of things, people are like, I don't know what happened to me. All I know is it was really bad and really awful. So I'm just going to take all of those feelings and shove them down and never talk about it and do my best to not think about it and just like put it over there. And then I think on the other side of things, I think it can be a situation where you are constantly thinking about what happened and it is something that you can't get out of your mind and you are replaying what happened and walking yourself through all of the details of that experience step by step to try to understand it. And you want to talk through it over and over and over again, also in an effort to understand and maybe help yourself work through that internal denial. And that is a natural thing to do too. That is how I was. I felt like I was talking about my sexual assault almost constantly after it happened. I felt like I wanted to tell somebody and like replay the events out loud. And it sort of helped me work through all of my feelings on the inside. I could walk through and say, you know, at this point I said no, but then he put his penis in me anyways. And it's confusing because I had said no, but then it happened anyways. And so I would walk through all of these events and it helped me start to come to terms with what had happened to me. And even to this day, I was sexually assaulted in 2019 and it is 2025. And sometimes I still end up having sort of obsessive thought loops about it. And it is to a very different degree now than it was back then. But I just want to say that whether you are thinking about this constantly and it is some sort of like wake up, sexual assault, brush my teeth, sexual assault, putting my clothes on, sexual assault. If it's like something that is an intermittent thought during and between everything you're doing, or if it is something that you're trying to shove deep in the back of your mind, either one of those reactions are natural and normal, and you don't need to feel crazy for them. Something that I think is a very unexpected result after experiencing sexual assault is that you might be super overwhelmed and really on edge. I honestly don't really remember the kind of person that I was before my assault. But what I do know is that now I am the kind of person that freaks the fuck out when there is a noise around me. I lose my shit. I think that the whole world is crashing down. Like, even if I am with my boyfriend and I'm in a safe place where I feel safe with a safe person, if there's a loud noise, my whole body is flinching. I am freaking out. My insides are, really stressed. My heart is beating super fast for the next 3 to 4 minutes. And I have to calm my nervous system down. And this is something that I think is incredibly common right after experiencing your sexual assault. Your senses might be feeling extra overwhelmed. You might go into a public place, maybe you're the kind of person who can walk into a bar and be totally fine. You're social, you're talking to everyone, you're loving the music and the sound of the people and the sounds of the bartender, making a drink. And then all of a sudden you go to a bar after being assaulted and it's too much for you. You're like, what is going on? You feel panicky on the inside. You feel like you need to leave and you need to just get out. And being overwhelmed in scenarios where you aren't typically overwhelmed after assault is a very natural thing to experience. Sounds may even begin to feel more jarring to you, and being around a large group of people might start to make you anxious. And in general, you might sort of feel like you just have a background level of anxiety sort of constantly going, way more than normal these days. Once again, I'm not a scientist, but from talking to people who know about this, your nervous system is on overdrive. Your nervous system was like, whoa, okay, people, we had a situation that did not make us feel good, that did not make us feel safe. So now we need to be on extra high alert, scanning every room and every space we're in, no matter if it's home or out of the home. And we just need to make sure that we don't let this happen again. We're basically on lockdown. Any noise, any sound is making our body trigger into a sense of preparedness, ready to go. Is something bad happen? Is there somebody dangerous in the room? So even though you might be in situations or places or with people who you might deem to be safe or normally safe or comfortable for you, because your nervous system is on hyperdrive, it is doing everything in its power to protect you. Therefore, these spaces might make you feel a little bit more on edge than they did before. One of the biggest things right now, and I cannot express this enough, so I might say it multiple times. If you have been sexually assaulted recently, you need to be doing everything you can to make yourself feel safe. Your body has had an experience that has made it feel incredibly unsafe, regardless of the event happened at your home, in somebody else's home, outside of your home, at school, at work, wherever it is, wherever it took place, your body is feeling incredibly unsafe. So now safety is something that you need to prioritize in order to tell your body that it can relax, and so it can move out of this fight or flight space that I just talked about, the space where your nervous system is constantly scanning rooms and looking for threats and trying to prevent you from being harmed. We need to try to find a way to shut that down, to tell your system that it is okay and that you are okay. It is so important that we move towards shutting down these high stress feelings because you don't want your body to get stuck in them. Now, you're probably thinking, how do I do that? And, there's not a perfect way to do that. I think some of the best things that you can do is to start by resting. Your body needs a lot of sleep right now. If you are able to get extra sleep, do it. Take it. Take those couple hours off of work. Get in bed earlier. Take that nap. Even if you're not even a nap person, just lay horizontal for a couple extra hours if you can. This next one, this might sound kind of silly, but I think some sort of like weighted blanket or stuffed animal or something like that that you can kind of deem as your this is my safety blanket. This is my safety stuffed animal. Maybe you need to go out and buy something that you deem as your safety item and sit with that item. And this might sound a little bit silly, but I think if you are at home and you have your safety item on you and just sitting there and thinking and telling yourself and even saying this out loud, I am safe, I am protected, this is a safe space for me, and really noticing how your body is feeling in those moments and telling your body, I am safe, this is a safe place, I trust my body, I can trust this safe place. Even things like that, I think, can do a lot for your nervous system. Additionally, having safe experiences with friends and recognizing those safe experiences. So when your system is incredibly overloaded, which, as we've already established, your system is whoa, bitch, we are on overload. We need to just stop. We got to hit a reset. When your body is in this space, if you can find ways to recognize when you are safe, I think that is really, really important. And this is not something that I did after my assault, but this is something that I do now a lot. So for example, I recently have developed a fear of flying. I have spent my whole life never being afraid of flying. Even after my dad and brother died in a plane crash, I wasn't really afraid of flying. And then within the past year, all of a sudden, I am so afraid to fly. I will fly. I have had to fly a lot, but the entire flight, I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, we are going to fall out of the sky. This metal tube that I am in very far above the ground is just going to stop being in the air and it's going to go plummeting towards the ground and I am going to die. And I know, really pleasant stuff, right? But my therapist told me to do this thing. And I've been doing a lot of other work in therapy, but she said, it is so important that you recognize when the plane lands and you walk off the plane and you are at that destination, whether it be home or you're on a trip or you're going to see somebody. It is so important that you recognize that you made it there safely. And I think that is such an important thing to do with a sexual assault as well. It is so important that we recognize the moments where our body is safe, especially after a time where we felt so unsafe. When you crawl into bed at night and your nervous system feeling a little bit crazy, remind yourself that you are safe, that you made it into bed safely. When you are with people that you love and that love you and that care about you, remind yourself in your head, just have a little quick chat and maybe go to the bathroom, sit down on the toilet and say, self, we are safe. We are with people we love and that we trust who will protect us and we are safe. I think having those conversations can go a really long way. I would even go as far to say that like a safety meal can be helpful. When I was younger, I used to love having grilled cheese and tomato soup as my like rainy day, warm, cozy meal. Another thing more recently that I've liked is ramen or pho. Like I have a friend specifically who like she loves pho. When she has a bad day, pho. When she's hungover, pho. When she's going through a breakup, pho. Pho is always the answer. And so even things like your safety foods, I think are a good thing to lean into right now. We don't need to be like doing crazy new shit all of a sudden, okay? Like our body has already had a new enough experience. Let's give it something that it can lean into and relax into and feel safe with. You might be extra worn out and tired these days. As we've already established, you have been through a lot and you need to show yourself grace right now. And you might need a little bit of extra sleep. And with extra sleep, you might need a little bit of extra time to get that sleep. If there is any way that you can get a doctor's note, a note from a therapist, if you are at a college or a university that has some sort of like victims assistant office where they can write a note to your professors to ask for extensions or for extra time on exams, anything that you can do to give yourself more time to rest and to feel safe is going to be good in the long run. I know what you're thinking. Shannon, I can't take time off of work right now. Like I have all these crazy projects, I need to do them. Or Shannon, I cannot afford to miss this exam. Like there's no way I'm going to fail. Guess what? Your body long-term needs you way more than that professor does, than your boss does, than any of those other people need you. And more importantly than that, you're not going to be able to come back long-term if you don't stop to take care of you now. I am not saying that to sound harsh or mean or rude. I am saying it because you need to recognize that what you went through is something that was a big deal, and you deserve to have the time to heal and work through what you've experienced. If you remember anything from this episode, it is that rest is so, so important when you are in the healing process. Your body is worthy of rest. Your body is worthy of safety. Give yourself that. Your body needs that right now. I cannot express that enough, how much it needs that right now. I've seen a lot of social posts in this space where people will say like, don't say sexual assault happened to you. Say that somebody did this to you. And I love that saying. From a grammar side of things, sometimes it is just easier for me to say, like this happened to somebody or this happened to me. But from a thought perspective, like an actual lens of looking at this, I love this idea of saying that somebody else harmed you, not it happened to you. Because it is a good reminder that this is about somebody inflicting pain on you. This is about somebody inflicting pain on other people. This is not about something that just like accidentally happened. Like sexual assault is a choice. Sexually assaulting somebody is an active choice to remove their sense of autonomy. Sexual assault is an active choice to take advantage of somebody. Sexual assault is an active decision to ignore the very thing that makes sex sex, which is consent. Anything else is sexual assault. So yes, I like this idea of thinking about it from the context of this didn't just happen to me. This is something that somebody chose to do to me. And I think that can help sort of the mindset of denial and starting to question what happened. I think it's helpful to remind yourself that this is something that somebody did to me. Somebody chose to harm me. And in times where things are confusing and you're still trying to sort out what happened, those reminders I think can be really powerful. My last thing that I would like to leave everybody with is that you deserve to have joy. I think it can be confusing at this time because so much of it will feel so heavy and you'll feel this thought of, what if I'm never okay again? Like, what if I never feel good? And then you might have moments where you're like quite literally laughing about how much you're suffering and you're having dark humor, or you'll have moments where maybe you're excited to do something or you have just like a brief glimpse of joy. And you might start to question yourself like, wait, well, if I feel joy or happiness or excitement, then like maybe I'm not actually suffering that bad. And this is your reminder that you deserve to have joy no matter what part of the healing process you are in. Being sexually assaulted is hard enough. Allow yourself to have the little things that make you feel good. And more long-term than that, you deserve to feel joy, again, on like an everyday basis. And with this idea of finding little ways to give yourself joy, you have a full and free fucking pass to do all of the little things that you like that make you happy. You might not feel like you can do everything right now because your body needs rest and time to heal, but allow yourself to do some of those things. Find small things for you to look forward to and know that you do not need to feel guilty for having joy while you are still in the midst of suffering. Give yourself the permission to have both right now. Give yourself the permission to fully break down and ask for help and be crying while simultaneously looking forward to the plans with your friends this weekend. Allow yourself to have both. I love you guys so much. I hope that this episode resonated with you. I could talk about the feelings and emotions and experiences after sexual assault probably for hours, but I tried to get like the core beginning ones in this. I'm so grateful that you're here and that you're alive. That means the world to me. If you have any questions or you just want to add on to this video, or if you want to share your story, you can send me an email at whattheydon'tsay@gmail.com. Or an easier way to reach me is to go to whattheydon'tsay.com, and then there's a little contact me page. Go look at that. You can send in a submission. I do read all of the emails. I have a little bit of a backlog right now. Just know that if you sent me an email, I am in the process of reading and getting back to you. There's just a lot of them, and I want to make sure that I have like the bandwidth to give each one the attention and energy that it deserves. You know, this is something that I've said before, that being sexually assaulted is basically like you're in this club that's like an exclusive club, but it's actually like not that exclusive because so many people are in it. And even though everybody's experience is different, there are so many similarities, and there's something like that we can all connect with as survivors of like, we've experienced this pain. We know this hurt. We don't want or wish this hurt upon anybody else, but we are here with you. We believe you, and like we are in this together. Healing is not linear, but healing is something that we deserve, and it is a place that we can get to. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I'll catch you on the flip side. Cheers.